Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Session Manager Training. This is Anne from SAME, and thanks so much for tuning in. Hello to all of our SAME staff, and welcome to our Meeting Planner Gurus. If you've been with us before, we're so happy to have you back. And if you're new as a meeting planner guru, thank you so much for helping us out. We could not do this without you. So, that being said, today we are going to go over the nitty-gritty of being a session manager. So, we're going to talk about a number of subjects here on the agenda. Please do ask us at any time if you have any questions at all. We want to make sure that you feel confident, that you feel prepared, and that you are able to really excel in your role. So please do not hesitate to ask whatever questions you need. You know, we are very close to all of this information, so we might think something is obvious and it might not be. So just ask away. So you are in Big Marker and you are viewing this session as attendees would view it. So this is what people who are tuning into your session are going to see. You saw our opening video, and that's a sample of what you are going to play. And I feel like, did I cut it off before it ended? My mind is all over the place. So anyway, you are going to upload that video and you are going to play it at the beginning of the session. And then there's one at the end of the session. So this helps you understand what participants are going to see. We've already used the chat a little bit, so thank you for that. And if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A tab. Okay, so I did think that I cut off the video too soon, so let's go back to the video and play the whole thing. See, I make mistakes too. So, there we go.
Welcome to Virtual JETC, an elevated experience. I'm Frankie Hammy with the SAME National Office, here with a few reminders before the session begins. SAME staff will be in the background during our session. You can use the chat to let us know if you need any help. Questions for the speakers should be entered in the Q&A tab. Just upvote questions already posted to avoid duplicates so we can get to the most pressing ones first. Handouts can be downloaded from the Handouts tab, and as a reminder, this session is being recorded. This session is being sponsored by Jacob, so be sure to check out their virtual exhibitor booth in the expo hall and schedule some time to chat with them. Refer to the schedule so you know where to go after the session concludes. And with that, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the session. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry about that. So you can see I ended the video too soon. So that was my bad. And you can see that we added that narration portion of the video. So if you've been with us before, you are relieved now of doing any talking in the beginning. So hopefully this makes it a little bit easier for everyone. And I think the video is great. And thanks again to Chloe and Sarah for all their hard work on that. And we've got a number of different people talking in the videos. So if you play a video, it may not be Frankie that you're hearing. And there's different videos for each day. So we will get to that. So let's see. If at the end of this session, if you haven't worked in Big Marker before as a session manager, or if you have and you're just still unsure of yourself, let us know and we can promote you to admins so you can look and see what it all looks like. And of course, you're going to be doing this in your dry runs, but we want to make sure that you are comfortable. So we have a question from someone. For those of us who are working in GoToMeeting instead of Big Marker, can you point out the significant differences when appropriate? Great question, and we can do that. All right. So, what are the expectations of session managers? Of course, the main thing is please be the first contact for your sessions. Really own the session as if it is your own baby. Yes, other people have been working on this, but we really need your help to execute. There are about 70 sessions, and so one person cannot do it all. 5 people cannot do it all. So we are really counting on you to own it. As I said, ask questions at any time that you have them. You're not going to be wasting our time by asking for help. We encourage help because that helps you do a better job when you are executing. Everyone was supposed to send out emails to their speakers and schedule dry runs. If your dry runs haven't been scheduled by Friday morning, please follow up with all of your speakers and get the dry runs on the books as soon as possible. We need all of you to register. You do need to register because you are going to be logging in to the virtual event platform in order to access your sessions. So it's not optional to register. So please take care of that. If you haven't, hopefully you've sent out calendar invites for your dry runs if they have been scheduled. Also, please send out calendar invites for the actual live session during the week of JETC now, so people have the time set aside on their calendar. We can send you some more information on what to include copy-wise in the calendar invite, but the calendar invite should really be for 2.5 hours. Yes, 2.5 hours. The session itself is 1 hour, but because the speakers or anyone can log on to the webinar for the pre-session run through starting 60 minutes beforehand, we want to set aside that time on your calendar and the speaker's calendar. And then an extra half an hour after the session is over for the post-session chat. And so that way, again, the time is on people's calendar and they're not booking themselves, right before and right after, etc. And it helps you as well. And of course, checking for the status of presentations. The other thing I'm going to say is a lot of this stuff is going to repeated probably many times throughout this presentation. So if we sound like a broken record, we apologize. And there you have it. The other expectation that I meant to say earlier is while you are watching this right now, please do not multitask. Please do not try and send messages on Teams. Don't be sending emails. Don't be checking Facebook. Please give your full attention to this. We are recording this, of course. You can come back and watch it later. But your full attention now is going to pay off in spades later. Okay, so before JETC, of course, we ask you to know as much information as possible. So You are not going to be on the help desk or whatever, but it is inevitable that speakers, because you are their first point of contact, they are going to ask you a bazillion questions, right? So please be able to answer them. 99% of the questions can be answered either by reviewing the website, reviewing the Speaker Service Center, having paid attention to all of our various presentations and trainings. So don't pass people off on any information that we have presented. There are very few questions that you should not be able to handle yourself. We do have the speaker training tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we do encourage everyone to participate in that, because some speakers may ask you about information that is presented there, and then you won't sound like an ignoramus by not knowing what they're talking about. And we are recording it, of course, if you're unable to participate live. We have an attendee orientation next Thursday. So again, you can participate in that. It's just going to help you be the most prepared that you possibly can be. Always refer to the Speaker Service Center for the most accurate information about your session. You know, someone could change jobs midstream, they get a promotion, they update their title, speakers change or whatever. Please don't refer to an Excel file that was sent out a week ago. Always refer to the Speaker Service Center, because as they say, as soon as something gets put in writing, it gets outdated. And of course, expect changes. There will definitely be changes, many changes between now and 2 weeks from now. And just roll with the punches, go with the flow, try not to get stressed out. You got this, you can handle it. And you've got this. Okay. I'm going to hand it over now to Belle for the next portion of our webinar. Take it away, Belle.
Thank you, Anne. And just want to quickly address Renata's question about the dry runs. The dry runs should just be the hour, Renata. So basically, you'd want to be on your dry run prior to, just say it's scheduled at 1 p.m. You want to be on your dry run by like 12:30. So it gives you enough time to upload the presentations, which we will go through all of those steps later. So the dry runs, just be on 30 minutes prior to the dry run. So make sure that when you send out the information for the folks, just send it out for the hour, but then for yourselves, just a quick reminder to get on 30 minutes prior. Okay, so we said about the Speaker Service Center, this will become your best friend. So in the meantime, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see the Speaker Service Center. This is where you will enter into your service center. So you put in your credentials. You should have received, and actually we did send the meeting planning gurus out the numerous emails today. Please ignore all of those. They were just adding to your sessions. But basically, you just really want to take note of your email address and password to enter into the Speaker Service Center. So here goes. And it will welcome you here and tell you which sessions you will be in this first table. Underneath, it will show you additional participants in your sessions. It's not stated by which session they're in, so that I'll show you later on where to go to see that information. And under here is all about the specifics, what's on the left side on the navigation bar tools. So with that said, you will want to go to register here in the speaker registration form. Speaker checklist, this is where you will see the dates that are due, but you don't need to worry about that. the speaker policies. You don't need to worry about that. Now, session details is where you will see who is in your particular session. Okay, so these are the few sessions that I'm in. And as you can see, Digital Foundation for Combat Engineering Planning and Operations doesn't have a dry run scheduled at this point. So I'm going to click on here and you will see the session managers, who they are, and also the speaker information. If you click on view, Scott's information will come up. Also, when they register, they have to put in their cell phone number, so you can jot those down from here and add them to those calendar invites. Staff Ssc Documents. This is where you can actually get the templates. If anyone asked you if it's on the wrong template, you can download the templates here. There's also lots of information for you to download. Just if you're aware of what the speaker guidelines are, moderator guidelines, their checklist, you can download those information as well. We've also uploaded tips and tricks for Big Marker so that especially government folks know how to get on and do not be on the VPN, and also the latest version of Chrome, etc. All that information is all in there for them. Also, we've uploaded the attendee list, which was on the 4th, and we will upload a final one once we have it. Now, this is very important here, Ssc upload presentation. Speakers are directed how to title their presentation, and here you'll see it says add. So the speaker orientation training add, that hasn't been added yet, but that's where you would add a presentation. You add, choose file, and it tells you max size is 25 megabytes, but that's not necessarily true. We do not like to hand out links, so they have to upload a file. If you scroll down here, you will see that a file has been uploaded for Jennifer Campbell. You will also notice that Jennifer Campbell has a dry run. So you might have the presentation uploaded here for your dry run, or it may be down here. So check both places. It is titled draft, which means to say she's ready to go for her dry run. Once completed, they would upload a new version called final. We will, by the time that after the dry runs are over, delete all of these dry runs out of the Speaker Service Center, so to stop confusion on which presentations to use and which ones not to use. So hopefully that's gone over a little bit of what the tools are within the Speaker Service Center. So does anyone have any questions about the Speaker Service Center? Are we good to go with that? I don't see any questions. Okay, moving along. Right, dry runs. Oh my gosh, this will be a killer for all of us to schedule these dry runs. Now, what we've found really helps us out is if you give a couple of dates, just throw out a couple of dates, because once we say, okay, we're open from May 4th or May 10th and not give an actual, time frame, folks are like too much of an open window. So if you just say, hey, just throwing this out there, is anyone available May 10th, 1 to 2? And most people would grab at that. Because also what we find helps is, slots are filling up really quickly. So to allow you the flexibility to choose what dry run time you'd like, we've given you a few options here. So this is what we are finding that is working to actually schedule these dry runs. Okay, so when scheduling the dry run, the group wants to start 10:30 instead of 10. That's fine. But remember that you can actually log on to Big Marker 60 minutes prior. So then you would take up 2 time slots. You would just take up the time slot at 11 because you can get on at 10. So if that makes sense to anybody, the session managers will be the ones scheduling those. So if that makes sense to you, hopefully it does, that you have that 60-minute window prior to scheduling. Make sure you log in at least 15 minutes before. I would suggest 30 because that way the videos sometimes take a long time to upload. That way you're relaxed, you know everything's set to go. You're not stressing about putting the polls in if you've had any last minute changes. But we would prefer, there you go, 60 minutes beforehand. Now, with the dry run, it doesn't have to be scheduled. You can get on, 30 minutes beforehand for the dry runs, but obviously 60 minutes beforehand for the live sessions would be optimum. Introduce yourself to your partner, get to know them before you actually have to address the speakers. And then also with the dry run, we do give you a checklist on what to go through, but then, allow them to mingle and get to know each other, be flexible, be very courteous, and also just make it fun. So if they see that you're relaxed and you're having fun with it, they will too. So don't worry if, you want to go through your checklist and the moderator takes control, they will ask you questions when they come up. Okay, we did touch on the checklist. So what we are asking you to do is to review the presentations. And if you don't have them, you have to reach out to those speakers. Verify the order of speakers if you have panels, and they should be in the order of presenting on your opening slide. Talk about the polls, how they are launched. We'll have a few polls for you later on, and that way you'll see how they work and how they operate. Please make sure who is registered, who is not. They will not have access to the live event platform. If they have not registered, don't worry, because we will send them links via the calendar invite that they can access their session, but they won't have all the fun stuff that we have planned for the actual event. Make sure you create your group text. Generally, that's good to create prior to the live session, and then you just send out the invite. Okay, so talking of polls, we have one now. Why did you join this session? Duh, I had no choice. This is my first time as a session manager. I want my session to be as good as possible. I'm scared of Anne, or I'm more scared of Belle. So let's submit our questions. Now, when the poll is released, what we do is you can toggle over to the poll and go to open. So I'm toggling over right now, and I can see 19% of you, 18, oh, someone changed their mind. 17% said, duh, I had no choice. 11% saying this is my first session. 7% of you say, I want my session to be as good as possible. Yay, thank you for that. And 5 people were scared of me. So, oh my gosh, thank you very much. With that said, I believe we're going to close the poll right now and moving on. Okay, session manager.
Belle, can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
If we go back to the poll, just on the poll slides, the way the template is set up is not in a bulleted list. You'll see A with the paren, B with the paren. But if you highlight that and then in the actual PowerPoint, change it to a numbered list so the formatting is good, we would appreciate that because it looks much cleaner.
Yeah, thank you for that, Anne. Actually, that's a very, very valid point. And there are actual options in the polling to do it from a 1 to 10 rating, which we did try that and it didn't really work out. And also it is there, we do have an open-ended question as well, but that doesn't really pull the results either. So that doesn't really work out. So really it's either multiple choice or you can have multiple options. Okay, so session manager expectations. What do you have to do before the actual event? Can't stress it enough. Please make sure they are registered. Jackie will send us the latest lists so that we have those, because obviously it's quite complex because with the speakers, some of them are exhibitors also, so it doesn't actually show in a report. And Jackie's the guru of this, and she will be able to keep us informed on who's registered and who is not registered. So we will send that information out to you. We have a checklist for you to look at how to do the presentation quality control. We will go through this in detail later, but we really ask to really look at these presentations well as if it's your own presentation. Once you've done that, you'll send those presentations to the track captain and you'll save it under _final in caps, because if the folks have just put final, you want to put _final and then convert it to a PDF and use that for your session. Now, sometimes what can happen, Big Marker prefers a PDF, but sometimes if there's a transitions in the actual PowerPoint presentation, they don't always convert well in a PDF. So have both versions available and show the speakers both versions and see which one works better for your session. We really want you to be comfortable with Big Marker. For those who are new to this, we can offer an additional training session to make you more familiar if you really feel that you want this before your actual dry runs. But SME staff who have been assigned to the gurus are so used to doing this by now that they've all become experts in the Big Marker platform. Make sure that every day you send out last minute details to your speakers. And the morning of the session, just have a quick chat on the group and say, hi everyone, good luck, and we can't wait to see you on the digital floor. So who's on first? Connect with your session partner and decide how you're going to divvy up the tasks. Who's going to be looking at the quality control on the presentations? Once that's done, who's uploading the presentations? You can read all of this, but really and truly, there's lots of different tasks to do. So use your own strengths. If you're really good at details, then you should be the one reviewing the presentations. If you're really good at just getting the stuff, uploading all the stuff, and knowing that you want to be the one launching the polls, playing the videos, and playing that side of it, do that. But please be fair to your partner and make sure that you're not giving someone too much to do and you're really not doing it equally divided between the two of you. So, can't stress this point enough. I mean, if we lose a moderator, we do lose moderators. Okay, so they just seem to drop off into thin air. Make sure that if a moderator has a bio to introduce the speakers, you have that ready on hand. And if not, you've got to be thinking on your feet about this. Like, you've got to be able to say, okay, launch a poll or go and introduce the speaker by his title if you can't, and then just say, hey, we have on this call, we have Peter Jones from AECOM. Peter, would you like to say a few words about yourself? So just be able to be flexible if we do lose a moderator. Okay, expectations during the session. As we said, we would like you to log on 60 minutes prior. That way you're more relaxed beforehand and make sure you go through the pre-check-in session checklist and you're ready to go. Hit record when session begins. What happens here, it does pop up a little blue pop-up box that says record session. You can either use that, but eShow recommended that we actually do it in the sidebar that we have on the behind the scenes. There's a sidebar that you can hit record there. So once you've hit record, also another thing to note, actually, it gives you a countdown before the session begins. Make sure you're all in sync with that countdown that it says, because often we've found that I can be saying a 2-minute countdown and 13 seconds, and Anne could have 2 minutes and 1 seconds. So her screen will go live before I go live. So make sure you're all in sync when it's giving you that countdown. I'm not going to read these out because you can all read. But as we said again, please just think on your feet if something happens and the moderator drops off. Pre-session run through. Okay, so when you get into the Big Marker platform, I think now actually, and they do publish the attendee list automatically. I think we just have to toggle on the publish all Q&A. Now, the sticky note, we are going to have eTech representatives on our sessions. We are all assigned to one. They're actually all coming in live from the Philippines. So they
actually, Belle, that's not true.
Oh.
We are not having one eTech per session. As feedback after our last conference, most staff said that they didn't require it and they weren't that helpful. So we're saving some expenses by not having one eTech per session. We are having a meeting tomorrow with eShow to discuss the technical help for sessions. And like, for example, if you're having a lot of problems in your session, how you would be able to call a technical person to come in and help. So more information is to come on that.
Oh.
There is not a dedicated eTech for every session this time.
Okay, sorry about that. I do apologize, but the fact is we will have some assistance with eTechs, especially if we will find that some of the government folks have issues joining and they can't get their cams or mics to work. So don't worry, as Anne said, there will be someone to help us. So with that said, you will have to add your sticky note to there. You will upload the SME logo. You will see that in the left-hand corner of the screen. You upload your videos, you create the polls, you upload the PDF as a handout, and you will notice it's a red little dot on there, which means the handout is available for you. So if you guys want to go in and download that handout right now, that's good to go. Okay, expectations after session. As Anne discussed earlier, that there is a post-session discussion chat. This goes into the virtual event platform, which you then will get a URL to publish within your session. So we add it to the chat and say to folks if they want to join the discussion chat, they can via this link. Check. Yeah, okay, so sometimes it happens 10 minutes beforehand and the speaker has noticed a really error and they cannot actually produce that slide because of like government protection, and they've realized. So we have to be flexible and just say, okay, sure, no problem, we will adjust that for you. But if that is the case, that your live session has changed from the final version that you sent to the track captain, then you will have to send back to the track captain that final version that was used for your live session. SME staff, we're asking you to save it into the T drive. And also we would like you to upload it to the Speaker Service Center once it's a final version. Now, in the past for JETC or all of our events, we've actually paid public that we can have the presentations on our website. But now, as we have realized that we can actually upload those presentations within the virtual event platform and just have those accessible to paid registrants. So this way they feel like they actually got more value out of the conference instead of thinking, okay, I can just go and download the presentations later. I don't even have to register. Once you have done that, you've uploaded to the T drive for the staff, for SME staff, you need to download the session report from eShow. This would only be for the staff to do because you have to actually log into eShow as an admin person to download those reports. We would like you to give us a feedback in our Teams channel that's been created by Sarah. And that way, tell us about any technical issues you had. If your session went fantastic, yay, great, thank you for you. If you've lessons learned, just put them in there for us so that future sessions that we can make those adjustments immediately. And for us, Anne says, for future planning. Send this thank you note to the speakers and attach a session report. Now, Big Marker, the value of being virtual, Big Marker does provide us analytics after the session. It will say who attended, what questions they asked, what chat questions they asked, how it would actually access what poll answers they gave, and all the other additional stuff that speakers find extremely important for them to follow up with the attendees. So this way, it's very important that we attach this session report to that thank you note. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this last bullet point. I'm patting myself on the back right now. Okay, so.
Okay, hey, Belle, why don't we pause for a second for a couple questions. So I'm going to look at these. You can have a sip of water. So one question, great question by Renata about, she asks about the materials that they upload can either be in the dry run or the session. This is a fantastic question, Renata, because what has happened before is basically when someone logs in to the Speaker Service Center as themselves, and let's just say they're in one session, they'll see the dry run there and they'll see the live session. So it is our goal to, after the dry run, to delete that. So, but you know, we're not perfect. So sometimes a speaker will complete their presentation and they'll upload it in the wrong place. And also some speakers are in multiple sessions and they may upload their handout to the wrong session, or they upload it to the dry run instead of the live session. So we definitely want to check that because this has happened in the past. So when you are looking, make sure you just check in both places, because inevitably people don't read anything. They're going to upload it in the wrong place. So that is a great question. Sarah asked where she can find out who the track captain is. We're going to go over that in a little bit. So more to come. Where do you find the after session report? Again, I think that Belle just answered that. It is in eShow admin, so the SAME staff are going to have to do that. Another question from Renata is she has never worked in Big Marker, so she doesn't know how to create polls. Will there be a tutorial? We are going to do a whole tutorial on Big Marker a little bit later in this presentation. The post-session discussion, we've got 2 questions on that. So again, we may be touching on this later, but let's talk about it now a little bit. So the post-discussion chat that is part of our dry run checklist to bring this up to the speakers, it is by default on. So basically the post-session discussion chat is a public chat, you know, typing in the virtual event platform. It is on by default. So we definitely want to encourage speakers to participate in it. It is not required. So this is why in the dry run, we want to talk about it with all of the speakers and ask them, will they participate? If everyone says no, then we will take that off. And it won't be an option to connect to it if none of the speakers are going to do it. So please definitely ask them that. If they say no, you can send an email to the sessions inbox and we can make sure that that is not on. And as far as the link to the post-session discussion, you will have to go into the VEM and find that link, and we will show you how to do that. All of the post-session chats are in the live event platform, the VEM, not in Big Marker. It's in the live event platform, and we will go over that later. And then the last question is, will the Speaker Service Center have the logos we need? No, we will email those out. Okay. I think we have gotten to all of the questions so far.
Yeah.
All right. Back over to you.
Well, thank you, Anne, for that. So Okay, please keep submitting those questions. They're great questions, and really, hopefully, they really bunker down and answer all of them today for you. So, with the checklist, here's what we're looking for. Is it on the correct virtual JETC template? Okay, we do have different sponsored tracks, and Kelly will kill us if we do not have the sponsored track. It will have it showing at the bottom. But basically, there's 4 tracks that are sponsored, and we did show you those PowerPoint presentations, and we will let you know which tracks are sponsored so that you know which one is which. Government, very important. They don't have to use a template, but it has to be in the 69 format. What you find is a lot of them will be copying that 4.3 format into a 16.9, and we will go over that later on, how to adjust those slides. We would like to have our own template for the use of the poll slides for the government, so you might have to create those. What we did at Capital Week, they just inserted it into their template, and then we just went in and adjusted it with our own poll slides. So make sure there are no polls in the government sessions. You have to really kind of look through and analyze the entire presentation to see if there's any polls been inserted in them, because it's not like the obvious poll question that we just showed you. It will be just inserted as just like words. Okay, so we will show you about the fun facts and photos, and we have one special person to show you her fun facts. And what we want you to do is to merge the decks together in the order of the presentation of the speakers. Make sure you have confirmed that during your dry run. Make sure there's video placeholder slides. We'll go through that in a minute. What happened to the slides?
That was me. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is a great example. I didn't mean to do that. I am very sorry. So when your speakers are in the session, and if they touch the slides or anything, you can see the slides went away because I clicked the wrong thing. So it is very important to go over the controls, which we are going to show you in a moment, so something like that doesn't happen.
Thanks for that. And I was like, what happened to my slides? Anyway.
I didn't do that on purpose, by the way.
It was a good thing to do, because that is exactly what you want to point out in the dry run is you to the speakers. When Anne will show us the actual behind the scenes of what we're looking at, I always start off with the tabs on the left-hand side. You do not see those. I say to the speakers, they are not there. So ignore those. All you want to be looking at is the microphone on and microphone off. That is the only thing they're allowed to look at from the top tabs, and also about showing them how to move their slides. That is it for speakers and moderators. They're not allowed to do anything else. Okay, so we touched on how to look at presentations and what's wrong with them, and like especially for you guys that are new to us who haven't reviewed our presentations before, we do use AP style, and a lot of folks in the government do not. AP style, all it basically means is that the ranks are all the same, but after the rank we just add whether they're from USAIS or whether they're from the Army, Air Force, NAFAC, etc., after their titles. So we said about the 4.3 format, just paste it into a 69 template, and I think they can get away with it. We will show you that as well. Spelling mistakes, obvious ones, just take them out. But as Anne said, there's some acronyms that you're not familiar with. Don't touch those because they might be there purposefully. Graphics is a big, huge one. When people have lots of inserts of text boxes, they often get screwed up, especially if they've emailed you the presentation or they've uploaded it didn't take correctly, or when we upload these files to BM, they convert them into their own formats. And this often screws up the actual presentation. That's why we prefer to upload a PDF. And folks have been asking me recently, can we upload our presentation in embedded video into it? Well, that works for on-site. Unfortunately, in the virtual platform, it doesn't work. We convert the files, so the files do not pick up like you would in an on-site situation, whereas you just click on the video and it plays. Make sure that, especially government slides, with industry, they don't generally do this, but with government, they have a lot of backup slides. So that means that you'd have to hide the slide before the next presentation if there's multiple speakers. They want those backup slides there to post for the attendees. So what you'd have to do is hide the slides for the actual presentation and then unhide them and save them as a PDF, and make sure when you save them as a PDF, you put it as a handout. That way you know that one's for the handout and the other one is actually for the live presentations. And I see that Sarah says, animations in my PPT, will it convert to PDF and playing during the session? Okay, Sarah, you know what? They generally do now. PDF has gone a long ways and changed from when they were originally. But just make sure that you go through both and make sure that they are showing all of the annotations that have been submitted into that PowerPoint presentation. Sorry, I'm just trying to read these questions. Anne said it was going to be really hard, so I'm just not going to look at that anymore. Okay, so let's show you some examples. Okay, they will add their session name on top, and it says moderator, Dr. James Smith, AECOM, and Captain Retired John Doe, PE, USN, Jacobs. And this lady works at Target. Okay, so what's wrong with that? What is PFAS? The session title is there. We've corrected that is no longer doctor before his name. He's a PhD. That is AP style. Captain, as we explained before, AP style is they're all the same rankings. So normally as a captain on the USN, he would be all caps, CAPT, but this we've converted it to Captain Dot John Doe. He's a PE, and with AP style, it's P.E. and then you do a comma, and then USN retired is RET dot with a capital R. And Jeannie LeBron, even though she works at Target, she is a fellow at SAME, which is F.SAME. When in doubt, Stephen and Daniel have spent hours reviewing the digital program, and we will send that to you guys so that you have it on hand. So if in doubt, you can look at that digital program. Not all the most current speakers have been added. We're missing a few, and I will try to twist Stephen's arm to add those in so it's the most current, so it helps you guys out on the day of or when you're actually preparing for your slides. Okay, so in the slide deck, we are giving the speakers an opportunity to add their fun facts and also a photo of themselves. So we've actually put in the slides, fun facts go here, whatever your favorite sports teams, your hobbies, or did you know that I did this, etc., etc. So please left justify those bullet points because they were set up to right justify. And so what happens is, as you know, it all gets all of those extra spacings in between. Okay, so this is the incorrect slide. You can see it's right justified on the fun facts. We have the most fabulous Anne McLeod up there, but we have no photo of Anne. So what's the point of that? Correct slide. So Anne's sharing her fun facts with her. Her mantra right now is go 1-0 every day. She even has a license plate to prove it. And she never says no to French fries. And I say never no to French fries, but with ranch dressing, which I do love. And dedicated member of the cult of the Peloton, which we all know that by Anne, which is quarantine has been a favorite thing for her to do. And her favorite binge watch is The Undoing in HBO. Okay, so let's look at some of these slides. So what's wrong with this? I don't know if Jill's on, but these were slides that we received during CAT week. Okay, as you can see, there's all this spacing from this side and to the right side. The logos have been enlarged, but there's nothing you can do about it at this point because you cannot go into the master slides and try and edit to get the right logo in. Don't worry about that. But what you can do to correct this slide, everything has to be justified to the line to the left. So you can see the slide already looks a lot better. It's easier to read, and there's not all that spacing. Okay, so this again is another 4:3 template that's been placed onto the 16:9, or we went ahead and changed it from 4:3 template and adjusted it to the 16:9 template, which is quite easy to do in the PPT. But what happened is there's all that space in between. And so what we can do is we went in, we left justified all of this stuff onto the top, and then we clicked on the actual picture and enlarged it as large as it could go. But this is probably as good as you're going to get, and you wouldn't worry about trying to adjust it anymore. Okay, so we're asking that when videos are to be played, they place this slide deck into their presentation. We would like to have the title of the video and to have the speaker talk to the video before playing, and then give the go-ahead for us to go. So basically, they will say, this video is on, I don't know, football, and we will roll the video. And with that, it will give you the option to then go ahead and start the video for them. Once you play the video, you then have to toggle back to the slides. Okay, this question came up earlier about track captains. Who are they? We have the best Tamel to do the architecture, have myself, we have Rob, who is new to us and the SME staff, who's probably thinking, what the hell is going on? I'm even a track captain as well as everything else. And Kelly's energy, because one of the tracks is sponsored, so that way she would definitely make sure that that is all on the Cardano sheets. And then here we are, we have mentioned which ones are sponsored by which. So when Rob, you are reviewing as a track captain, make sure it's on the sponsored Burns and McDonald templates. And Magic Mike, make sure it's on the Jacobs, on both of those two that you're on there. So these are our track captains, and Mira is for joint engineering. We have color-coded the sessions, and that's first spreadsheet that you received. So if you want to jot in their names in there, that spreadsheet is outdated now because we have numerous speakers new. But you will have to make note on who these people are and their contact information so that we can give that to you if you are not with SME staff. Okay, I believe I'm handing this back over to you now, Anne, or was I going on?
Yes. I can take over from here. Thank you. And again, I'm sure some of this is going to be repetitive, but hopefully it will help you remember. So the week of JETC, which scarily enough is the week after next, what should you be doing each day? So your session prep, again, review the presentations. There are so many speakers that, they're adjusting their slides, could be to the last minute. So you want to make sure that you are checking for new uploads, even after, you already think it's final, because, hey, things happen. People find a typo, whatever. For those meeting planner gurus who haven't worked with SAME, a large majority of our speakers are engineers. They are extremely detail oriented. They are going to look at this. They're going to review it. They're going to find something. That is what our people are. Detail, detail, detail. And that's just the name of the game. So Once you have retrieved the presentation, you're going to go through the quality control checklist. We reviewed what to look for. Once you are satisfied with your presentation, if you're a team and you're the person who is doing the first review, I suggest share it with your teammate. If Belle was my teammate, I would say, hey, Belle, went through this. I've updated it. Is there anything that you see that I have missed? You look at these things and you miss stuff. Okay, so maybe Belle will find a couple things that I didn't find. Great. We'll do that, and we'll send it to the track captain for approval. Please take your time. Be a stickler for details. Be anal. We want it to be as perfect as possible. Send it to the track captain for their approval. They're going to review it. They might come back and say, hey, looks great. This is good to go. And then you can convert it to PDF for use in the session and posting in the various places. If presentations are not received by the deadlines, reach out to the speaker, email them, call them on the phone. If presentations are due on the 13th and on the 14th, you email them and say, hey, Belle, your presentation was due yesterday, haven't seen it, any status, and you don't hear from them by the end of the day, please call them on the phone. You don't know, maybe their email is down, maybe your email is going to spam, whatever. Please get in touch with them. As we said, email the speakers the day before the session, attach the list of the people who bookmarked the session. Again, all communication to speakers is coming from SAME staff, because it's coming from an SAME.org email address. It seems weird to people if they're getting an email from someone with a Gmail. And of course, you want to make sure that both you and your partner have a copy of both the PDF of the presentation and the PDF. You never know if someone is going to get hit by a bus. They got their second COVID shot and now they feel like shit and they can't get out of bed. We want to cover all bases. And you can read all of this. Okay, so live session management, of course, you want to manage your sessions, all SAME staff, and have one or maybe two sessions a day, but they're spaced out. Our meeting planner gurus, I know most of you have back-to-back sessions, so please log in to your session an hour before it starts, or as soon as you can, if you've got other conflicts. You are going to log in to your session via the VEM. You're going to go through the pre-session checklist with your teammate. That way you know that you have everything done. You don't have to memorize it. That's why there's a checklist. You are going to monitor. Okay, so monitor session group discussion. I think, again, we have been inconsistent in what we're calling this. By monitor a session group discussion, we mean the post-session chat. Go to it after the session is over, see if people are participating or not. Both of you don't have to do this. You don't really need two people. Note in the Teams channel how the session went. That's simply saying, okay, the session manager training is over. We had 35 folks. It was great engagement, lots of good questions, and mistakenly removed the slides. Other than that, it was good, etc. You're going to, of course, thank the speakers, download the session analytics from eShow. If there were last-minute changes made to your presentation right before the presentation, and what you showed is different from what the track captain approved, you are going to send your track captain a revised presentation. As the track captains are going to upload the presentations to the VEM Resource Center. We'll get to that later with the track captains. Staff, please save the final presentation to the D drive. And if we have an end of day team wrap up meeting, please participate in it. If there is one, we haven't scheduled any, but we probably will. So, Bonnie, I see that you said you have a hard stop at 2 p.m. I don't know what time zone you're in because it's 2 p.m. Eastern time right now. So, if you need to get with us, we can absolutely do that. Okay. How do I access the sessions? You are going to log in to the VEM. You're going to click on the networking portal, speaker ready room, presenting sessions, and then you're going to find your session. We are going to demonstrate this in a few moments. And this is definitely going way longer than we thought. Of course, we talk a lot and there's a ton of information to cover. So if anybody needs to leave, we understand. And you can listen to the recording to the end of the session, and we can, of course, get with you as well. Both as whatever makes you feel comfortable, we are going to help you out. All right. Belle, were you going to cover this part or am I? I can't remember.
You was going to do it, but I can.
Okay, no, that's fine. So when you enter your session from the VEM, so the VEM is going to connect you with this. This is what you're going to see when you get to Big Marker. It is going to do a systems check. And at the bottom of this page, you do have to sort of scroll down a little bit to see this stuff here at the bottom. Oops, I'm going to just... Anyway, so you see here, complete your presenter profile. If you click on this, it comes up with this fantastic profile thing where you can upload, or speakers can upload a photo. They can update their name. So you can see when I type something in the chat, you can see that it says Ann McLeod, SAME. It only says that because I updated it. So we can encourage our speakers to do that. That way, if they type in the chat, you know, people have got this more information and they can see the photo. It is not required. It's just something that we can let them know to do. If you all can do that, that would be fantastic. It doesn't save. So if you're in multiple sessions, you have to do it every single time, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So the speakers are going to all go through this. There's no way for us to show this to you because we can't certainly share our screen of this until after we're in it. There's no way to demonstrate. Okay, so the next step of the process is going to be to choose an audio option. Everyone will have this. We do recommend that people connect with computer audio. It's going to ask, you can test audio and video, so you can connect your webcam and test it out, choose which microphone, etc. And that's all there. Pretty standard there. At the bottom here, there is these background options. We do not use backgrounds. If speakers ask, this is a very common question. You know, some speakers have these fancy digital backgrounds. We do not use them because it takes up bandwidth, they get pixelated, etc. So we do not use backgrounds if anyone asks. And so once that is all complete, then they'll click on Continue to Webinar. And then they get into the webinar. So I'm going to do a screen share in just a second here, and I think the slides are going to go away, but just a couple technical things. We always want to make sure that everyone is on the most recent version of Chrome or Firefox. We have no idea when these browsers are going to make updates. So it's always good to check. We always recommend to reboot your computer before you get on the live session. Not 5 minutes before the live session, like 30 minutes before the live session, because I know sometimes I've rebooted and then all of a sudden there's Microsoft updates and it takes 20 minutes. So definitely keep track of your time, please. The Monday night of JETC week, everyone, if you can please shut down your computer entirely and leave it off overnight. It's always good for everyone to get a good night's sleep, including your computer. So let's please do that. Make sure everything is charged. Do you have batteries from your wireless mouse or your keyboard? This is one that we always forget, and I have to give a shout out to Kelly Dawson, who I don't think is on this. A great place, if your batteries die, to look for extra batteries is in your TV remote. But of course, we recommend having extra batteries on hand, but that's a place that you can look in the event of a emergency. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen here in big marker. Let me see what the next, okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen and here we go. All right, so hopefully now you are seeing the big marker platform. So across the top, I am going to go from top to bottom and left to right. Across the top here, you see JETC Session Manager Training. We can see that we are recording the session. And up here, you see the SAME logo. So when you get on your session, this will look like an icon of a camera. You simply click on that. And you can upload a logo right there. So you want to do that. It takes 2 seconds. There is no way for us to pre-populate that. You do have to do it yourself. So across the top again, right now you can see that this is white. When it's white, that means you're broadcasting live. There's 3 phases of this bar. When you're in quote unquote backstage mode, that's the 1 hour prior to the scheduled start of the session. This bar is going to be black. It changes color. So I think starting a minute or so before the session goes live, the bar turns blue. And then starting 10 seconds before you go live, you're going to see that the color changes from blue to red. And up here, as Belle mentioned before, there's a countdown clock. So definitely recommend during the pre-session run through that you say, hey, my bar is showing that we have got 10 minutes prior to the session start. Is everyone say 10 minutes? So that will be up here. Going along the top, you see all these other icons. RTMP, that is not something that we use. Settings is your camera and microphone settings. I'm not going to click on that because I think it's going to take me out to the technical check. But this is where you can change cameras, or if you have multiple microphones or whatever. But this is also where you can pick up your dial-in information by clicking on settings and then finding the phone number and the PIN and the password. Everyone has got a unique access. So don't look at your access and say, oh, hey, Belle, I'm going to share your dial-in information now and use the one that I see because hers is different. Okay, next we have the microphone. You can see right now it's on. I'm going to click it, and then that's how I mute myself. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then you won't be able to hear me, but I want you to be able to see it. So you can see that when I muted myself, there was a red box that said, "You are now muted." And then when I turned it back on, there was a green box that said, "You are now unmuted." It's not instantaneous. There is like a slight lag. So be aware of that. Then we've got the camera. You can see I just turned my camera on. Hi, everybody. And I'm going to click it again, and my camera turns off. The rest of these icons, only session managers should be touching these. We do not want our speakers to be touching these. So screen is where you would share your screen if you're doing that. We don't do screen sharing generally. I clicked it, and that's why you are seeing my screen now. Slides right here. I'm going to click it, and we'll see if you can still see what is happening or not. But this is where you can upload slides. So I'm going to click on that. There is a pop-up. I'm not sure if you saw the pop-up or not. It's pretty self-explanatory. That is where you would upload your slides. Video, same exact thing. You click on that. There is a pop-up where you can upload the videos. Now, a couple notes on the videos. If you've got multiple videos, we know there's at least 2 videos per session. There is an opening video and there's a closing video. You always want to upload the videos in the reverse order that they're being shown. So the first video you should always upload is going to be the closing video, because that's the last video. So you need to be organized. If speakers have videos, keep track of the order, upload them in reverse order of what is being played. Audio, we are not using that. Offer, not using that. And this more button here is how you can exit the webinar. So let's just say you're in the dry run, right? And you have to leave the dry run, but the webinar is still going. When you leave the dry run, you want to click on more and then exit webinar. So are there any questions on those controls before I move along to the next portion? Okay, doesn't look like it. Okay, next up, we have these tabs in the upper left. These tabs is what controls the attendee view. So I'm not going to, I'm going to click it now. So I'm going to click on slides. Right now you're looking at my screen, correct? I'm going to click on slides, and you're going to see, now you see the slides. I am going to click back on screen, and now you should see my screen. It is absolutely imperative that you share with the speakers. They should not touch these. A lot of people think this tab that says video is controlling their camera. It isn't. It's controlling the attendee view. Only session managers should ever be touching these. So when I want to play a video, I can then click on the video button, and I'll see the videos that need to be played. And that's how I can play them. But again, this shows the attendee view, and only you guys are going to work with those. Okay, so moving across to the right-hand side, you see the chat, Q&A, polls, handouts. All of you have that, of course, as attendees. And under chat, you've got public, presenters, private, and Twitter. So public, you're all seeing that. Presenters, this is how you can communicate with all your speakers during the session. I mean, there's no way for you to tell someone something except through in writing. So I don't think that we went over this, but if someone gets frozen, they generally don't know that they're frozen. So you can type in the presenter chat, "Hey, Belle, you're frozen," and they can still see the chat. But this is where you can send messages to each other during the session as reminders, etc. So again, this is in all of your different checklists to talk about with the speakers, about using the presenter chat. Private chat is where you can send messages to specific people who are within the session. Twitter is not something that we use, but it's there. So that is the chat. Now, I'm going to show you if somebody puts something into the chat that's actually a question. What you can do, I'm going to demonstrate this with Renata's chat here at the bottom. You see these three little dots. I'm going to click on the ellipsis. That's the name of three little dots. And you'll see convert to Q&A, pin to top, delete, kick out, ban. Okay, so if it's actually a question for the speaker, you want to convert it to Q&A. So I'm going to hit convert to Q&A. And so now Renata's item got moved to Q&A. And you can see here at the top, the Q&A now has a red dot. That's an indicator that there's something new in there. I'm just going to touch on these three little dots again. So sometimes, I've done it a million times, during the pre-session run-through, sometimes with the presenters, you start using the public chat instead of the presenters chat. So before the session, you want to clean this up. So when all the attendees come in, there is no chatting there. So you can delete the comments here. So it's gone. So I'm going to delete that, and you can see it was taken away. So definitely remember to do that at the beginning of the session. All right, let's go to the Q&A. I think you can all see this. But again, Q&A is where all the questions for the speakers are coming. And you see the votes on the bottom. So we encourage our participants to like questions that have already been asked. And I'm going to ask folks to please like some of these questions so you can see what happens when likes are submitted. So basically, the system is going to reorder the questions. Can I get Tamel and Sarah to please like some of the questions that have been submitted so we can see the voting? Great. So you can see that Renata's question at the top now has one vote. And if I vote on the one question at the bottom, you see that that moved up to the top. So it is going to reorder things in real time. So we always want to encourage the moderators to take the questions with the most votes first. It can be very confusing because if you have 300 people in a session and they're all doing this voting, the questions move around. So, you know, they need to scroll to the top to keep track of that.
And I just have a quick point about the questions. Sorry. We do like the speakers to provide the moderator pre-prepared questions just to kickstart the Q&A. And we can upload those questions for them in the Q&A prior to the session begins. And we let folks know that there are some questions been submitted and they can upvote those questions. And actually during CAT week, that worked really well for us. And we ended up having like questions upvoted like 35 times because we put in the actual questions we really felt the audience really wanted to hear about.
Okay, yeah, that's a good note. And I think that we probably need to update all of our different reference sheets to add that because it's not in there now. So, yes, but I agree. It totally worked. It worked very well during Capital Week. So that's something we should add, talk about that during the dry run and so forth. Awesome. Okay. So just because it's here, I'm going to go over. Now, you see that there is a tab that says answered. Now, in general, and Belle, correct me if I'm wrong, we are answering the questions verbally. We are not encouraging speakers to answer a question that's put into here in writing, because then other people, they might not be monitoring it, they can't see it, what have you. There's no way for us to remove that, but it's there. So that is why I am just going over it. And then archive, there's no questions that are archived. So sometimes if there's things that are answered, you can see, okay, right here, you see this with Bonnie. She has a question and I answered it. So you see the question and the answer here. But again, we don't encourage the use of that because, again, all questions are answered verbally. And just as a point, the post-session report has all of the questions in it. So we send the post-session report to the speakers so they can look at the questions. And if they want to reach out to someone about a question that was asked that we didn't get to, they can respond to that person. It's very helpful. All right. Moving on to polls. So this is where you're going to build the poll. So as you see, I clicked on polls, and then the first item is queue. At the bottom, there's the green button that says new poll. I'm going to click on this. I'm not really sure if you can see this pop up or not, but there's a pop up that allows me to enter the poll. So you can enter it. You've got the choice of multiple choice, 1 to 10, short answer. We don't want short answer questions. There's multiple choice. Again, you can type the question in, the answers, and you have the option. Audience can select one answer or audience can select multiple answers. So you want to go over with the speakers, is this multiple choice or one choice only? So after you enter it, you want to hit add to queue. And I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to hit add to queue. And you can see now in the queue, my question that I just created is here at the bottom. So during the pre-session run through, you want to build all the polls. During the actual session, when it's time to launch a poll, all you do is you come to the queue and then you're going to hit start polling. And that is going to launch the poll. Once the poll is launched, people can go to the open tab. That's going to show the activity of the poll as people are answering. And closed shows you the results of the poll. Pretty straightforward. Okay, next let's go to handouts. Handouts is where you can upload handouts. And at the bottom here, you see manage handouts. If you click on that, again, I'm not sure if you can see this or not. Pretty straightforward. There's a pop-up box that lets you upload files. So that is that. Okay, now I am going to show you the host control panel. Host control panel is only for the staff and the meeting planner gurus. The speakers don't see this. So all of that stuff, when we told you toggle this on, toggle that off, etc., that is here in the host control panel. You can see all of this here. It's pretty straightforward as to how to control these things. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. You can see here, this is where the speakers are going to be showing. So if Tamel was speaking and he forgot to mute himself, I can mute him, or I can, block his webcam, whatever. So that is where you can do that. Beneath it, this is where you see how many attendees are in the session. Just to note, it only shows you, I think, the first 25 names or something like that, but the number is an accurate number, but it's not going to display every single person's name and it doesn't scroll that much. So that is in the first portion of the host control panel. Then we have the next one that says recording. As you remember in the beginning, we talked about recording. There is a little blue button that shows up in the bottom of your screen here right before the session starts, or you can come here to start the recording. This is where you're going to stop the recording at the end. There are some other things here. Automation, we don't use that. Advanced. One thing that I do recommend in advanced here is to come to auto mute when playing video. Everybody should always be muted when videos are playing. So if you toggle this on, it will automatically mute everyone when you play a video, which is fabulous. Okay, and then log is just a log of the session, pretty self-explanatory. And then finally, at the end of the webinar, one person, is going to click end webinar to, guess what, end the webinar. Okay, so because I can't show you slides and screen share at the same time, I can't show you, but if this were slides, underneath the slides is the slide advancer. All speakers should advance their own slide. We do not use next slide, next slide, next slide. They can advance their own slide. It's an arrow, front and back, very, very easy. But again, a thing to note is if there's another speaker on the session, and like as I'm speaking, if Belle clicks on the slide advancer, it's advancing my slides. It's not just, what she sees, it's what everybody sees. So that is something to note. All right, I am going to stop there. I'm going to ask Belle if I missed anything in the screen sharing, and also if there are any questions.
You're very thorough, Anne. I just wanted to say that eShow did recommend to press recording through the host control panel and not to use the blue button, because often you can click happy on the blue. So it's better to do it with the recording. And as we keep on saying, you can only start and stop once. And we really do need these recordings because we're going to place them on demand for our attendees at a later date, so they can get as many PDH credits as they can possibly get from watching and viewing all the sessions.
Absolutely. And, this is a great point too. This is why we want to clarify the roles between you and your partner during a session, because if Belle and I don't say, hey, I'm going to hit record, then I might go and hit record at the same time she does. And guess what? We just screwed ourselves over. So it's always best to say, it's a lot, in the beginning of a session for one person to do. That's why we have two people on. So, for example, prior to this session, Belle and I said, okay, I will hit record, Belle, and you launch the opening video. So that way we knew who was doing what, and we're both not, one person isn't trying to take care of everything right at the start. Okay. Any other questions on this? All right, well, let's go back to our slides. All right, great. Sorry this is going on for so long, but we thank you to those who have stuck with us. And if you're gone, well, we'll catch up with you later. All right, we're in the home stretch here. Common questions you will get. The number one question we get from anyone is, where can I find a copy of the presentations? Again, they can download it from the Handouts tab during the live session. After the session, where is it going to be? In the VEM. Oh, we haven't done a demo of the VEM. Okay, so we will get to that in a second, but we're not going to go through it in too much detail because we will go over it in our other trainings. So in the VEM, the education activity portal, each session listing will have a button to download the materials. And then also in the networking portal, it will be in the resources. We are not, this is new for all of the SAME team, we are not posting presentations on the JETC website. Reason being, only conference attendees now will have access to the presentation. So if you want to play, you have to pay. No more free copies of presentations. So it will not be on the website as it has been in the past. Where can I find the recordings and when will the recordings be available? I didn't put when will the recordings be available, but that's a natural question. In the VEM, the recording is in the education and activity portal. If you find the session, there's a little button that will say on demand. That's where people can look for the session. That's the only place that they can watch the recording. How long will the recordings be available? Through July 31st. So people can earn credits, PDHs, that stands for Professional Development Hours. They can earn credits by listening to the recording. So, you know, they can participate, obviously, only in one session at a time, the week of JETC. And if they want to go back and they want to get credits for other sessions, they can do that. Speakers, they all have free registration. So, hey, after JETC is over, they can go back and they can listen to other sessions and get credits. They can listen to their own session to find out, how did I do? If they want to, great. Okay. Pdh certificates. Everybody wants proof. We do have an editable PDH, that's that honor system type thing that people can fill out, but our system does auto-generate a transcript of PDHs, regardless of if it's live or if it was Memorex. It will update their PDHs. That is in the VEM, in the networking portal. AIA credit, that stands for American Institute of Architects. This is for registered architects. They have a complicated process. And if people need AIA credits, they have to contact us and we submit it to AIA. They have to do it themselves. Anyone who's wanting AIA credits is pretty familiar with this. This should be nothing new to them. But I would say these are the most common questions that you will get. Some people will put these in the chat. And so you need to respond with the correct answer. Okay. Who to contact about what? You can read it here. We're not going over this. For the warfighter sessions, I can't remember if we've still got any of our meeting planner gurus on here who are supporting the warfighter sessions. But I think that what we will do is we will ask Kathy to reach out to you. Kathy is organizing those. Those are being done in GoToMeeting and not Big Marker because of the nature of the session. So there is some additional information on that. So we will make sure that you guys all feel comfortable with that. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention, there was a question earlier, and I'm not sure we addressed it or not, about the Warfighter seminar, even though they are taking place on the GoToMeeting. Yeah, they will be accessible to the discussion chat in the VEM afterwards, because we have actually put those sessions in as live sessions, and also the day of those sessions will give that information to tell the folks to go to the GoToMeeting platform. So even if they do log in by mistake on the virtual event platform, they can then at least be deterred to go to the GoToMeetings. So basically, yes, there will be discussion group chats after those sessions.
Yes, great. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and I'm sure while you were saying that, everybody read the slide, so we're not going to read it again. So your toolbox, all of the checklists, the videos, all of the instructions for the SAME staff, it's all on the T drive, so please refer to it. We will send these all to the meeting planner gurus, so you have all of the information. Please don't print out some checklist today and then use that in 2 weeks from now, because as we talk about stuff, we think of things like, oh my gosh, it would be really good to put that in that document. We update them as we go along. We are not perfect. I am the least perfect of all. And yes, I want to be perfect. That's why I sound like a crazy person half the time. But please don't print things out. It gets outdated as soon as it's printed. So, the week of JETC, obviously you can print it out because we're not going to be updating it then, but just as an FYI. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a really quick sharing of my screen so you can see the VEM. I think a lot of the SAME team has seen it before. We still have some MPGs on here, so thank you to you guys. And then we'll go over a couple quick things. And if you're able to do some of the other trainings, then you are going to see that as well. But here is the login for the VEM, and you can see you've got to sign in, and this is using your Attendee Service Center credentials. That's why you have to be registered. So you come here and you end up in the digital, what happened? Uh-oh. Well, thank God I did not want to have a heart attack during this webinar. All right, so here you can see our digital lobby. I'm only going to go over the speaker portion of this. Again, you all can log into this at your leisure before JETC to check it all out. Highly encourage you to do that. So, networking portal, speaker ready room. Again, networking portal, speaker ready room. I'm going to click on that. You will see our beautiful speaker ready room, and over here on the left, presenting sessions. We're going to click on presenting sessions, and you will see this is a list of all the sessions that I am in. So if you thought you were overwhelmed, take a look at this list. And you can see here, May 6th, that's tomorrow. I see from 3 to 4, speaker orientation and training. There's a button that says session will open 60 minutes prior. 60 minutes prior, this is going to turn green and it will say enter webinar. All I do is I click on the button and it's going to take me into big marker. That's it. Easy as that. You see here on demand. So this is what the recording looks like to access the recording. Again, so that is networking portal speaker ready room. And let's just touch on the post session. Hold on. Is it here too? I can't even remember. Let's do this again. Oh. That shows you a description. And let's see here on this. No. Okay. Sorry, guys. So let's go to the education portal. Here you can see there's a number of ways to find different sessions. At the bottom, it's by day. These other ones is by track, etc. Let's just randomly choose one.
And real quick, you can activate the group chat through the Speaker Service Center if you just click on the actual title of the session.
Okay, got it. So it will look like this. So let's just show, hopefully it's set up. I'm going to click on this political dynamics effect. So I'm going to come down here. No, it's not there. So what will happen is over on this side, there's going to be a button that says Enter Discussion Chat. You click on that and it's going to take you right into the discussion chat. So when we say the link for the discussion chat, if you go into that during the session, you can click on that button. It's going to open a new window and you can just copy and paste the URL. And then when you go back to Big Marker, you are able to then paste it into the chat. And so that is the very quick overview of the VEM. Is there any questions about the VEM or anything else? So sorry we went on for so long. I think in the future we have to make sure we make this a little bit longer. I know that this is overwhelming. There's a lot of information. So please don't feel bad if you're like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? Well, some of you didn't have a choice, but hopefully you've been through this so many times. You know, we're just covering all the details. It all hopefully makes sense, and you will be able to handle it like a pro, we are quite sure. So, any questions?
We don't seem to have any, Anne.
No questions. All right, well, let's find out how people are feeling about their responsibilities. So let us know if, especially if you're staff, if you feel like you've done it so many times before, you've got it, you're nervous, are you scared of me? I get it. I'm scared of Belle. Actually, she is really a very generous and giving person. And if you need to spend 3 hours on the phone with Belle to understand what you need to do, she will spend 3 hours on the phone with you. Or it's all overwhelming. So we have got 64% saying, I got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I've got a tie for I'm nervous and it's all overwhelming. Well, we understand and we are happy to spend as much time with you as you need. So you can then answer A instead of B, C, D, or E. So with that, if there is nothing else, we will finish up here again. We have recorded this. If you want to sit here and listen to us for another hour and 45 minutes, you are more than welcome to, or reach out to us and let us know if you need some more hand-holding. Don't forget about the speaker orientation and training. That is tomorrow. Belle, I'm thinking we are going to need to make sure we can complete that in an hour instead of an hour and 45 minutes. And also we have the attendee training next week. So, cool. And with that, all right. So I think we're all set. Well, we hope everyone has a great afternoon. You've earned your margaritas. If you don't drink margaritas, you know, have a Mexican Coke. Enjoy your chips and guac, your chips and salsa, your tacos, whatever you may want to do. Belle, any last words from you?
I think that this, yes, we definitely went on long and we do apologize for that, guys, but hopefully it was worth your time and effort to attend. And please do just log into the speaker orientation that we have planned for you tomorrow. And I'm sure it will make a lot more sense. So with that said, Anne, I think we're good to go. I'm going to shut down this recording right now. So how are you about that?
Sounds good to me. All right. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the hard work that you are going to do. We could not pull this off without you. So you've got this and we've got you. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.